This is Three Beards Media. Real talk, no filters, no scripts. From sports to culture, we say what others won't. Turn it up, lock in, because it all starts right now. Live from the AKC Andrew Downs Studios and powered by Revelton Distilling Company.
Would you like to sample some of my nuts?
You can lift your weights, you can run your miles, but you ain't got what's been earned through trials. It ain't in the gym, ain't in the use, it's in busted knuckles and hard-lived truth. Back's been sore since 99, but I still stack wood and I'll still outgrind. Call me slow, call me old, but I got hands that could bend pure gold. Ain't about muscle, ain't about speed, it's about the fire when the time comes to lead. You can talk real tough, you can flex real wide, but when it's time to dig in, boys, step aside. Old man strength, built to last, years of work, no need for class. Ain't no quit, ain't no doubt, you don't know tough till you've been worn out. Woke up stiff, but I'll shake it loose. Been swinging these hands since Reagan was news. Call it stubborn, call it pride, call it wisdom that just won't die. Ain't got time for excuses, kid. I was up at dawn while you just hit. No silver spoon, no easy.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Old Man Strength, brought to you by the Three Beards Media Production and from the AKC Andrew Downs Marketing Studio. I am your host, Chris Shipley, normally joined by either Aaron or Tim, but Aaron is working and Tim got sick. So I went deep into the barrel and pulled out Bill Blank and said, hey, you want to come on the show? And gave him 20 minutes notice.
Deep into the barrel. The bottom of the barrel? Is that?
No. That's where you get the good stuff. The good fermented whiskey is at the bottom.
I'm pretty fermented. That's a really accurate statement. That's the first time I've ever heard that intro.
Oh, yeah. Which tells me you don't listen to any other show on the Three Beards Media Network.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have told you that. I probably shouldn't have said that was the first time I heard that intro. No, I don't think anybody watches our show, do they? I don't know, maybe.
Actually, they do. We just had this conversation yesterday. How well the last episode did.
No, I'm talking about other Three Beards people.
Oh, I don't know. All I know is I watch every show. So that's all I know.
You do,
because I'm editing.
Yeah, you're doing. I wouldn't have time. If I watched all the Three Beards shows, I wouldn't watch anything else on television or otherwise.
I know.
It's grown. Your baby's growing up.
It is. It's getting big.
Boy.
I know. Now, pretty soon it's going to be a bitchy teenager, and then I'm going to have to deal with it.
That's all right. That's when you turn them over to me.
Go see your other dad.
Yeah. We'll start telling them I'm one of the beards.
You might as well be.
I'll be the disciplinary beard.
There you go. That'll work.
Right on. So, well, I'm glad you texted me. This should be a good time.
Yeah. No, you haven't hosted this show yet, so it's a little different. So it's structured. We try to hit our points and our time, and we're not off the rails.
Call me.
What?
Why the fuck did you call me then? You want it to be structured.
No, I didn't say that.
You forgot to send me the script.
Yeah. I don't have a script either. So, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and bring in our guest here. I've been meaning to get this gentleman on the pod for a while, and I know he's been super busy, and this just seemed like the right time. As a matter of fact, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but Bill, did you know, and when I ask you this, please don't be a dick and be an Iowa fan. Did you know that today is the 25-year anniversary of the final game of the Iowa State baseball team?
Oh, yeah?
Yes. So I'm sure we'll talk about that too. So, but I'm super excited to bring on our guest tonight. He is
dressed to their funeral. No, go ahead.
Why do you got to do that?
It was cardinal red. It was. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. We're excited to bring on JD Scholten. JD, thanks for coming on Old Man Strength. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Bill's a Hawkeye fan. I'm a Cyclone fan. We'll try to keep that banter separate. But
You'll both hate where I went to college, so that works.
Well, I looked it up. Yeah,
Nebraska?
you went to Nebraska.
Yeah.
No shit.
Well, I went originally to Morningside here in Sioux City. My dad was a coach there, and after they switched from going Division II to NAIA, and I had a chance to get drafted, I turned it down and went to Nebraska. But that was the same year Iowa State dropped their program, and so there's a lot of that whole team was leaving, and so that was like back then there wasn't the portal like there is now, and so that was a big deal with so many people looking for places to play. And so it was just interesting time. And my dad was, when I was born, the grad assistant at Iowa State. So,
Yeah, because I saw you were born in Ames. Right?
Yep. Mary Greeley Hospital.
Yep. So that's where we normally start this pod. This pod started with me and my partner, Tim, talking about our dads and how we grew up and how we were raised and things like that. So that's usually the first question that we ask is, give us a little bit of background, where you grew up. Tell us a little bit about your relationship growing up and what that kind of shaped you into who you are.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, I was born in Ames. We were living, we were living in Nevada at the time. And when I was about 3 years old, my dad got the head job at Morningside College, and that moved the family to Sioux City. Went to East High School, grew up here. My dad, even though he was a coach and he worked at the student center, and when the first few years, he was actually in basketball as well. And you add all those things together, he still coached all my teams. And so it was pretty special to have that. And so still have a great relationship with my dad. We talk a lot of sports every time we get together. I'm actually pitching tomorrow for the first time this year, and he's going to be at the game along with my mom. And just very excited about that.
Are you at home right now?
I am.
Is your house like Victorian? Like it
is. It is.
You're
distracted by your wallpaper behind you.
Yeah, I know.
It looks like creepy porcelain dolls all over your dining room.
You don't have a China hutch, do you?
I do have a China hutch, but it's all filled with like baseball memorabilia. Yeah, this is an old vintage house. I love it, but yeah, it's different. People think, especially when I do podcasts, they're like, I should do like Garden State and get a T-shirt with the same material or the same pattern as that.
Speaking of the pitching, me and Chris were talking about this before the show started. There's this, I swear to God, there's a story about a hat.
Yeah.
See? God damn it, Chris.
Honestly, I think now that you said that again, Bill, I think I vaguely remember this, but go ahead.
So it started off with that. Well, so the quick version of it was on June 6, 2024. There's a big music festival here in Sioux City. I volunteer for it every year, and I was about an hour into my shift, and I looked down on my phone. I had 10 missed calls from the manager of the Sioux City Explorers, and within 3 hours, I was on the mound pitching for them. And I ended up going 6 2/3, only gave up 2 runs. We got the win. And so I became the oldest person in league history and the only state legislator to play professional baseball while actively serving. And because of that, Major League Baseball asked for my jersey. So the day before I got the greatest email ever, which was from the National Hall of Fame, we were in a bus fire in Earlham, Iowa, or just outside of Earlham. And to the Earlham Volunteer Fire Department, if they need anything, I'll be there. They came immediately, saved our equipment, and just they were amazing. And that was at 3 a.m. And I pitched the night before. So I pitched, got the win. This was my 4th game, and I ended up going 4-0. I'm riding high, had a couple beers, got on the bus, crashed, and about 3 a.m. I got woken up by a teammate and say, "Hey, we got to get off the bus." And so when I got the email, they asked for the hat, and I was like, "Oh, my hat's in a ditch in Earlham." So I had our general manager who drove out to make sure we were all right. He drove back, and I was like, "Hey, if you're going on I-80, do you mind just going a couple miles south?" Because I I took GPS and based off the sign and the videos I had and matched it all together. And he found the hat right away, sent it to National Baseball Hall of Fame. And then they got back to us and said it was so damaged by the fire that it would taint the other memorabilia. So at the end of the year, I ended up hand delivering my jersey to them because I as part of being a state legislator, I go to Farm Aid every year. There's a group that sends us to Farm Aid, and that concert that year happened to be just a couple hours away from Cooperstown. So I just went a day early and hand delivered it. So that's my hat story.
Okay, so my question is how do you know that the guy didn't pick up somebody else's hat? I mean, yours couldn't have been the only hat out there, right? Like,
well, that's a good question.
There wasn't 7 hats laying in the ditch, and they just grabbed one and said, "Yeah, this is JD's."
That's a good question. It is now in the Sioux City Public Museum because the National Baseball Hall of Fame brought it back, and it does say JD underneath it. So
fair enough. Okay.
He did pick the right one. If there were multiple ones, I don't know, but that was a good question. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, too bad that copy of War and Peace in the Sioux City Library is tainted forever. At the expense of all the other books. JD hats in there. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It'll take the other memorabilia. How? It's soot gonna float around Cooperstown?
Well, they protect, so only a few items are actually out on display and everything else is in vaults. And so they said that either they would have to like oxygenize, or I don't know if I use the right word there, but like they were gonna like have to have it something like sealed off, which would have cost like $1,000 or something, or we could have just switched out. And so we switched out.
That's crazy.
Oh, it would have cost you $1,000?
Somebody, I don't know.
I feel like they were not going to expense $1,000 on one hat. That's what I'm getting at.
Exactly.
I didn't play D1. I played at Marshalltown. I played a little JUCO baseball.
Oh, nice.
But that after my freshman year, they had a semi-pro league here that just played, and it was they call it Birdland over in Des Moines. And the guy calls me, and I got drafted to this. I knew nothing about it. He just calls me, and I remember he sounded like Jimmy Stewart, and he was like, "Oh, we need a third baseman," and he sounded like he was a drunk. Turned out he was actually. But anyway, he tells me that I'm drafted, and I'm like, okay, cool. So when's practice and whatever. And he's like, well, it's just $100. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You drafted me to pay you $100? I just feel like if Cooper's
get on that gig,
I'd be like, hey, you can have the hat. You pay the $1,000, Cooperstown.
Yeah. I talked over with our GM, and he's like, let's just give him a jersey. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Whatever.
Hey, your name's still in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So there you go. So you said your dad was a coach at Morningside and was a coach at Iowa State. So, we've interviewed people before that the parents have been very driven and things like that. You obviously fell in love with baseball or whatever, but was it a tough time? I mean, I feel like if your dad was a baseball coach, there was probably a little bit of pressure on you to play baseball and things like that. Was there ever an area there where you felt like there was a little bit of pressure to play that because that was your dad's thing?
The only pressure I felt was trying to decide whether I was going to play basketball or baseball in college. I'm 6'6", kind of a wing. I'm a decent shooter. And so if it was like the game is right now, I probably would have played college basketball. But back then it was just more of a physical drive to the hoop type of thing. And not being
for a lot of white shooters outside. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I wasn't blessed with the biggest hops or the strongest or the fastest. So being a pitcher was kind of fit my mold. So I'll be like pitching did not come natural to me. I could throw hard and my ball moves natural, but like mechanics and being 6'6" and long, like it took a long time to develop everything. Where basketball, I kind of was just naturally good at a lot of different things when it comes to that. So, that was the biggest thing. But like my dad never pressured me into anything, and I was getting recruited by Division I schools, but when your dad's recruiting you too, that was something. But I don't regret it or anything. Like I had a great experience playing for him. It was an honor. I did all I could at the kind of the D2 level, and then my senior year went to Nebraska. And at that time, Iowa State dropped their program, and the Iowa team isn't what they are now. And so at Nebraska, even though I did not grow up a Husker fan, the football team I still root against pretty religiously. But the baseball team, they treated me very well. We were a top 8 team the whole year, and we made it to the College World Series. And so that's something I will always treasure.
Did you get a start in the College World Series?
No, I wasn't a starter. I came in to be the closer, and then I didn't get a lot of innings, and that's kind of how I ended up not getting, even though I had a chance to get drafted my junior year. My senior year, I ended up going to play independent ball after that.
Where'd you play independent ball at?
Started off in Canada. There was a league called the Canadian Baseball League. They were trying to be the like the CFL, what the CFL is to NFL. This was trying to be the same thing for Major League Baseball, and played a half season up there, and then ended up playing with the Explorers the second half, and then played with them again the next year. And so,
come on up here and play baseball, eh?
I played a lot of baseball in Canada, and still have a lot of fun. Even last summer, my last start of the year was in Winnipeg, and that was a riot.
I feel like as much as cold as it is in the Major League Baseball cities and in early this season, like in Chicago and places like that, was there a different time frame for their season as opposed to what the Major League Baseball is, and I feel like it'd be super cold up there.
Yeah.
In April when you're coming out of spring training.
Right. And so our season, so like the Explorers, the league started on Thursday or Friday. And so like they're just starting now. So it can get a little bit cold, but like the two most northern teams, which is Fargo and Winnipeg, they're both on the road. And so for I think the first week or two to kind of try to balance it out a little bit, but yeah. But when I played in summer ball or when I played earlier up there, it was late enough in the year that it was just a lot of mosquitoes.
I wouldn't think that.
Oh yeah,
it was like just. I guess it's moist.
Cool. I don't know the physics or I guess not physics, the geography and biology of all that. But it's kind of like Minnesota is too. Like the state bird is the mosquito.
So what'd you do for a living then? Immediately,
it's just what I was going to ask.
You weren't like, obviously, even then you probably weren't completely playing baseball for a living, right?
No, the off seasons were working multiple jobs while trying to train. Stayed with my grandma a little bit, stayed with family members so I wouldn't have to pay rent, type of thing, and just kind of bounced around. And I mean, it's a grind. Like every job interview I ever had where they asked, like, what's your favorite job? Without a doubt, it was playing minor league baseball. And what's the worst job? Without a doubt, playing minor league baseball. But like being able to play in my mid 40s the last 2 summers has just been like I treasured every single moment of it. I didn't complain one time whether my laundry wasn't dry all the way or anything like that. Like little things like that where when you're younger you're kind of upset or grumpy about all that. I treasured every single moment of it, and it's just a unique opportunity. But like I don't know, just you get to play the game you love.
Were you somehow staying in shape before they called you? Like
Yeah. So I wasn't just on the couch. So I went 7 years without touching a ball. And once COVID hit, I was running for Congress in the Iowa's 4th district, but I needed something outside of the politics to just keep me motivated. And there was a Saturday night, I had probably a few too many whiskeys, went down a rabbit hole on YouTube of pitching mechanics. And the next day I bought 24 balls and a net and just started throwing. And that led into, okay, I'm going to challenge myself to hit 87 miles an hour. So that later that summer, I ended up hitting 87. And then I lost that race. And the next year I was like, you know what, I'm going to call my old team up. It's town team ball up in Minnesota and say, hey, I don't know what I got, but I'll give my all. And that year I went 10-1 with a 1-something ERA. The next year, something similar. And then I got elected into the Iowa House the following year. And I asked them, I was like, hey, what are my obligations in the summer? And they said, well, once we're done with the legislative session, you really don't have any. And I said, so hypothetically, I could go and play baseball in Europe. And because I played before, but I've never played in the Netherlands, which my last name's Dutch and it's the best league in Europe. And so I was like, well, I tried to make that happen and it didn't work out. But then all of a sudden the team that I was in contact with, they said, well, we had a couple injuries and a visa problem. Would you be willing to come help us make the playoffs? And so I went over there for a couple months and got them to the playoffs. And that was a great experience. So I was throwing. It wasn't like I just came off the couch.
So I hear these questions. You're bouncing around. You're running for Senate, and we'll get to your political career because that's one of the big things I want to talk to you about. You're going to Canada. You're moving here. Are you married?
Yeah. Nope. Not married.
Okay. So that's the reason why you're allowed to do all that stuff. That was my next question was going to be. You had to have had a really supportive wife to be like, sure, you're mid-40s, go play baseball.
Yeah, not married. I have a pretty serious girlfriend now, though, and so that was part of the decision of not trying to play one last season. Because also, like, I don't have anything more to prove at this point. I'm not getting out of the league. Like that's the best league I could play in. I'm not going to get picked up by the majors or anything like that. But yeah, not married, don't have kids, so spending time to go in the evening, go work out or go throw a bullpen or things like that. Like after working, I had all the rain I really wanted.
Do you think that hurts you politically, not being married?
Not really. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe I do know. So in my 2018 campaign, Dave Price was on my RV. So I had a big Winnebago RV with my logo, and we were known for going everywhere with it. And he asked the question. He asked kind of a similar question. He goes, "You're on the road nonstop. How does your family deal with this?" And I said, "Well, I'm not married, and my mom probably would rather have me find a wife in all this than get me elected." And he said that was the most clicks they got out of any comment in 2018.
Well, I guess what you said for that, but that could also be quick to be used against you.
Yeah,
a lot of people hate click. In fact, more people hate click than like click.
That's very true. I think the thing about politics. So one of my first off seasons, I worked at a bookstore, and I came up with this theory that if you gave every book away for free, someone would complain about the bag it comes in. And that's true with politics too. You know, like no matter what you do, someone's going to complain about something. So if they're talking about my relationships, that's probably better than anything I probably put on social media as being stupid or something.
I mean, no offense, but I feel like the Republicans probably shouldn't go down that road either.
No offense.
Actually, I don't give a fuck if I offend them or not. So how about that? So
it's weird now, man. Are you? Well, I guess we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I
No,
mean,
you know what? Let's take a break.
Okay.
Let's get the ads out of the way because this is a conversation that I want to have, JD. These are questions that I want to have about what motivated you to run. I definitely want to talk about your campaign against Steve King. And then I want to talk about the state of the Democratic Party and why it's in so many shambles, honestly. So
how long do we have?
Yeah, well, we got as long as we need. So that's why we're getting the ads out of the way now. So let's get a word from our sponsors, our great sponsors here at Three Beards Media. Makes all this possible. And then when we come back, we're gonna get into the teeth of it with JD.
Buying or selling a home is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's why choosing the right real estate team matters. The Jenny Farrell team with RE/MAX Concepts has been helping families across the Des Moines metro find the right home since 1998. Born and raised right here in the community, Jenny understands the neighborhoods, the market, and what truly makes a house feel like home. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your space, or preparing to sell, the Jenny Farrell team provides expert guidance every step of the way, from market analysis and listings to negotiations and closing. Their consultative approach means you'll feel confident, informed, and supported throughout the entire process. Jenny Farrell Team, RE/MAX Concepts. Call or text 515-779-7500. Visit jenniferfarrell.remax.com. Experience you can trust. Results you can move into.
In the heart of Des Moines, one name stands above the rest. Step inside, where tradition still matters. Warm, familiar, unmistakably Iowa, where every guest is welcomed like family. Service that's personal and never rushed. Fresh starts made daily. Iowa beef, hand-seasoned. Guided by fire, built on flavor. Served with pride. A bar as bold as the menu. Featuring the old-fashioned we're known for. A place that stays with you long after the night ends. Iowa Beef Steakhouse, 1201 East Euclid Avenue, Des Moines. Steak done right.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Finding the perfect gift for your wife or girlfriend isn't always easy. You want something thoughtful, stylish, and unique. And that's exactly what you'll find at Styled by JJ Boutique. Julia Bradshaw and her team strive to be your go-to boutique for casual, boho, and chic clothing and accessories, helping women elevate their style one piece at a time. Located right here in Johnston, Iowa, Styled by JJ brings trendy, high-quality fashion that boosts confidence without breaking the bank. So, if you're looking for a gift that says, I get you, instead of I tried, head to Styled by JJ Boutique. Because nothing makes her smile like feeling beautiful. Styled by JJ Boutique, where style meets confidence. Visit our Johnston location or shop online at styledbyjjboutique.com.
Not every animal gets a fair shot. But that's exactly what Animal Lifeline of Iowa is here to change. Since 1986, they've been stepping in for the ones who need it most. Injured, abused, orphaned, and special needs cats and dogs across Iowa. This isn't just a shelter, it's a lifeline. As Central Iowa's only no-kill shelter dedicated to special needs animals, they provide life-saving care, rehabilitation, and the opportunity for every animal to find a forever home, no matter how long it takes. But here's the deal. They can only save as many lives as the community supports. So get involved. Donate online. Hit up the Animal Lifeline thrift store, where every purchase fuels their mission. Or, better yet, find your next best friend and adopt. Because every tail wag, every purr, starts with someone like you. Animal Lifeline of Iowa, where we provide much-needed TLC and a safe space until they find their home.
All right, and we are back. We have this week's Adoptable of the Week. It is Alfie from the Animal Lifeline. He is 1 year old. He's deaf, and $50 to adopt Alfie at the Animal Lifeline. So, all right, JD.
How many days is to the $50 deal?
Till the end of the month.
Till the end of the month, yeah.
End of the month, you can go adopt an adult dog at the Animal Lifeline. for $50. You can't beat that. All right, JD.
I have dog fever, so I might have to come down to Des Moines and get one.
Dude, the puppies that were in that little ad are now up for adoption. So I'm just saying. They also will get about 60 pounds, so I'm out on that deal.
Lifeline, Chris.
What?
Said tell JD about Animal Lifeline, Chris.
Well, I think the ad just did.
I don't think, but he probably doesn't understand the no-kill.
No, you're right. The Animal Lifeline is it's the only no-kill shelter for special needs pets and dogs and cats in Iowa, and they are funded 100% by donations.
Oh, that's amazing.
They've been going for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And they the other way you can support them is shop at the Animal Lifeline thrift store on the south side of Des Moines as well. So all the proceeds from that thrift store goes to them as well. So
very cool.
All right, JD, let's talk about it. So you grew up, you're a big baseball fan, love baseball. I'm guessing somewhere in there was a passion about politics. Am I right?
Yeah, it was never at the forefront. It was always just kind of around. I mean, growing up in Iowa, you had the Iowa caucuses. My mom really wanted to make sure me and my sister were well-rounded, and so she would bring us to a lot of different things when we were younger. My dad's politically is a little bit more quiet, but he's a social justice Catholic who I think that's kind of his passion politically, and he's one of the more proletariat people I've ever met, where he really like has a soft heart for the working class people and people who have kind of down on their luck type of things.
Yeah.
So you add those things together, and that's a huge part of kind of why I got politically active. But I got active while I was not in Iowa. I was actually living in Seattle at the time. And after the 2016 election, I just looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I want to do something more. I didn't know what that meant. I went home after the election and visited my grandma, who's my biggest inspiration in my life. And she wasn't doing that well. And at Thanksgiving, that's when she told me the first day, she was like, oh, you need to move back here and work at this retirement home and take care of me. I'm like, Grandma, that's a great idea, but I don't have a degree in healthcare. They're not going to hire me. She's like, oh, you're probably right. And the second day, something similar. Third day, again. And by day 5, I was feeling pretty inadequate. But on the last day before I had to fly back, she goes, you need to move back to Iowa and you need to take care of our farm. And that hit home. I was the last person to get her to eat. A month later, she passes away and we have her funeral. Gave the eulogy, hardest thing I ever done. And then a month after that was the inauguration, Trump's first inauguration. And the next day I'm in Seattle and my friend invites me to go to the Women's March. And I had no idea what it was. I didn't know if guys could go. I didn't know anything. I just was still in mourning with my grandma, wanted to do more, trying to figure out things. But at that march, I just felt this raw power and energy. And for some reason, I just went home and looked up this race. And I just, for whatever reason, it still doesn't make sense to me. Like, Trump won this district by 27. In my head, I was like, oh, I can win this race. It was just, there was no, I'm like, oh, I'll just buy a used Winnebago and just go nonstop and try and do something. And partly that was simple. That's all it was. I was just trying to get Steve King out of office. And in that 2018 race district, like I said, that went for Trump for 27, we lost by 3. So we moved the needle 4 points, which is one of the largest for a federal race, not only in Iowa history, but across the nation, is pretty significant in the last decade of all that. So here I thought, politics is a zero-sum game. You either win or you lose. And if I lose, then I'll just move on. If you win, you got a job. And here I was. We got a lot of attention from that. And then I decided to run again because I didn't want to see King get reelected. And then he lost his primary. And I didn't win that race. And then I thought I was out of politics. And then that's my good friend Chris Hall was decided not to run for reelection. And so he said, hey, I think you'd be great at this seat. And so I've been in the seat for the last 4 years.
So you're currently still serving in the Iowa legislature, right?
Yeah, correct.
So let me ask you, what do you think? What do you think in 2018? I mean, 24-point makeup is nothing to sneeze at, and I don't mean that in this way of how I'm going to ask the question, but what do you think didn't put you over the top? What mistakes did you make in that campaign? Do you feel that maybe was a missed opportunity?
You know,
I mean, 24 points is huge, right? So to me, that's a toss up.
Maybe it was the vagina hat. Could that?
You know, now that you mention it,
To wear like one of those vagina hats to the march. Like I could see whoever's running against you doing a negative campaign ad and just having a picture of you from your Facebook.
JD wants to make everybody wear vagina hats. vote for Representative Racist King instead.
To answer your question, you know, I knew I could get close. I didn't know if we had that last little bit. I mean, we overperformed the governor's race that year by 17 points. So, I mean, so there was already, if you take 17 away from 24, that's 7 points. So there was a 7-point switch, movement, swing in our direction. So that got us a good bump. But to move that many people in a district that had 80,000 more registered Republicans than Democrats, and against a 20-year incumbent, some people said if we would have went 2 weeks longer, we could have had it. Other people thought, you know, you started getting so much national attention, the race got nationalized. If it would have been sooner, I don't know. I think we weren't perfect by any means, but we did something, and like we built from day one. And it was our campaign when I first launched was very humble. I was not good at public speaking when I first started. Not to say I'm great now, but like back then it was very like pretty much read a script. But I knew it was what was in my heart, and I knew if I put myself out there, I could get a lot better. And we held over 100 town halls and just really went everywhere. And just the beauty of our campaign that I feel is that the DCCC and the DC part of the Democratic Party had no interest in this race because they were like, oh, that's winnable. And so we got to do things our way. Pretty beautiful.
How annoying is that to hear from your party? Like I despise partisan politics, everything, you know, full disclosure, but like that's one of the things that I hate the most. Like I've always been like a third party guy, right? And you would see people get a little bit of momentum, and then the way it got squashed was always like, oh, I like them, but they can't win. I'm like, well, if you think they can't, they can't. Isn't that what this is? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Is go try to make them win? Like are you that much of a loser that you vote for the guy that you think's going to win, even though you don't like him?
It's very frustrating. Like the biggest frustrating part of all of this is the money. In order to win, you have to have money to get your message out. And in order to get that money, you have to make 6 hours of phone calls to strangers, mostly strangers, a day, trying to convince them to invest in you or give contribute to your campaign. And so like access to that money is a lot easier when you have the heads of the party saying, yeah, that's our person.
Our guy,
and so like that's kind of the trickle effect. But in doing so, you have to run a campaign. And this is what I get very frustrated in our party. The way we run campaigns is the candidate talks to donors and they talk to consultants more than they talk to voters. And I think that was the beauty of our campaign that showed how grassroots we were, was that like I slept more nights in a Walmart parking lot than my own bed in the last part of the general election, but I would go and talk to everybody. And like, that's what I thought campaigning was. And then as you get into bigger races, and when you get those national entities involved, it's ultimately about money, and that's the sad reality.
I think that if real change is ever going to happen in politics at all, someone has to get elected that makes lobbying illegal.
Yeah,
all lobbying across the board, all lobbying needs to be out of politics, period. Like, I don't care what the lobby is, it needs to be gone. I think the number one evil in politics is the lobbyist.
It's in there was a Citizens United rule that the Supreme Court had that really changed everything in politics. Like, so right now, a billionaire can drop a crazy amount of money on just one race and decide who ends up being nominees and ends up who has enough money to get their message out. And so, like, that's extremely dangerous. So, like, more than being a Democrat, I consider myself an anti-monopolist. I think there's a handful of corporations that have way too much power in this country, and me, like, that is the biggest threat to our democracy, is that power in just a hand of the few. And so, like, that is, to me, like, how we save our country. We break up these huge monopolies. We decentralize a lot of this in order to have like the voices that matter, rather than just the dollar that matters.
I went to Iowa State. I got a political science degree. Somehow I ended up in a marketing degree, so I'm not sure what the fuck that means. But a couple things that stood out to me that I remember distinctly. What's that?
It means you could run a campaign.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means. Was that somebody had said once that everybody is, if you ask the average voter, are they for term limits, every single one of them will say yes, with the exception of the guy that they're voting for in their own district. Right? Like, that's, I mean, if you think about it, like, yeah, I think everybody should have term limits. Oh, but I voted for Chuck Grassley for 85 years. I'm going to vote for him again, or Tom Harkin, or whoever, right? Like, and that really resonated with me, because I think people, just get comfortable and don't want to make a change. The other problem that I see is, and it's a famous, I shouldn't say famous, it's a line from a movie that I absolutely love, and it's called Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. He basically cons his way into Congress, and he's in his very first meeting with all these big donors and all these congressional people. And the head congressional guy says two things: the people in this room are your best friends, and it's only 2 short years until your re-election campaign. And it's like the dude's first day.
Yeah.
And literally, that's their job, is to get reelected over and over and over again. Their job is not to solve any problems. I think probably, I really believe this, when the Supreme Court came back and pushed the abortion thing to the states, I think a lot of Republicans were unhappy about that, because now they don't have anything to run on. They couldn't run on that issue anymore. Right? So now what are they going to run on? Well, now they're going to run on fear and transgender and all the other bullshit that they bring up. But nobody's there wanting to solve their problems. And I'm not lumping you in with that, right? Like, that's not what I mean. But overall, that's the problem with politics.
I completely agree. There's no incentive to work together. That's a huge problem. Right. And or was that?
That doesn't get you reelected. Working together doesn't get you reelected. Right?
Exactly. And when I was running for Congress, it's a 2-year term. So the minute you, like, exactly what you mentioned, the minute you get elected, you're running for a reelection, and it's about how much money you can raise. And you get money from a PAC, you can get $5,000, where from an individual, I think now it's $3,500 is the max. And so it's easier to go chase PAC money, which is all corporate and different special interests, things like that. And that's not making us a healthier democracy. And so, like, there's things, that's why I think, like, campaign finance reform is an absolute must. It's trying to find a way to just incentivize doing things. Like, we have a do nothing Congress right now, where they're literally doing the least amount they've had in decades, if not a generation or so. And so like, and look at the country, you think we're doing great. And I just, it's mind blowing to me. Like what's mind blowing to me is like, you look at something as basic as healthcare, and we can't agree that like a basic level of healthcare should be covered for everybody. I can't believe that there's not pitchforks about just that issue alone in this country, because every single community I've been in this state has a GoFundMe, has a pancake breakfast, or a donation box somewhere to help pay for somebody's medical costs. And we're the wealthiest country in the world. It makes no sense. And so like, to me, like that's like just basic needs are not being met, and it's both at the state level and at the federal level. And it just like it's been so frustrating the last decade of being in politics, and just seeing like clear things that like just basic stuff that we should be doing, and like we can fight about the details, but like what's the thing that we can all agree upon? Like in Iowa, it used to be public education. We pride ourselves in public education, and then the last 4 years under the Reynolds administration, that was the first bill I voted against, was the voucher program, and it just given public money to private schools. I mean, there's a place for private education. I'm not going to say there's not, because I went to kindergarten and first grade at a Catholic school, but my parents had choice back then. They chose to put me in public school after that.
And what did they do after they passed the voucher? Because the voucher was to give everybody a chance to be able to make a choice. So then what they do, they just raised the tuition, the X amount of dollars that the voucher paid for, and just priced everybody back out.
Yeah.
So
one of the, when people email me and reach out to me about issues, I really try to like be pragmatic and understanding, but my state or my district borders South Dakota. And there's a lot of people who live in North Sioux who kids go to Heelan here, Catholic school in Sioux City. And they were
in that gym for show choir before.
Oh, there you go. And so they were trying to like convince or try to tell me that like, well, we should be able to get vouchers too, because our kids go to public school, or I'm sorry, go to private school in Iowa. And I'm just like, you're barking up the wrong tree. You're like, I'm not for vouchers, and I'm not for like using public funds for private school to start with. And I'm definitely not going to somebody who's out of state to get them to use our public dollars for that. So
the amount of rules that those schools break in athletics under the guise of being institutions, that's the worst part of it, honestly. Is like, I mean, you look at the the state championship games in like baseball and football, like there is almost always a private Catholic school winning the state championship, and almost
I'll say that, but that's always been kind of the case too, for the most part. Like, right. Yeah, because I mean, they don't have all the students.
That was happening.
Yeah,
but that makes it even more prevalent.
Oh, 100%.
So it's just like it's the rich getting richer, and you just.
But this goes to like the point of why I'm against vouchers, is because they get to pick their students. Public schools don't. And like, if a kid is failing or something, they'll just say, oh, you're not in the school anymore. Well, then they end up in public school. Or if there's a special needs kid, and that's the part that like, I don't think it's talked about enough is how much special education is like cost these school districts, because they have to accept everybody. And I mean, but we need to invest in public education for everybody. That's no doubt about that. But like when private, it's just not apples to apples, and when there's an unfair advantage, like that's not the American way, and that's not the Iowa way.
I feel like Kim Reynolds wants us to have that hospital that Geraldo Rivera uncovered back in the day.
What?
she wants it to look like here. Like, I mean, just by eliminating all the special education, like just eliminating everything mental health related.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
anything. Like, it's like she just wants us to have that hospital that's behind it, like on a hill behind the woods, and you just throw everybody
So
in.
everyone know, yeah. Like, look at these kids. These are our prize kids, and here's the other kids. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I come from that other kid system, like I was blessed to play sports and things, but like when it came to my education, I wasn't I wasn't in a select class or anything. Then I got good grades. I got enough to go to college and create a decent life for me. But like at the end of the day, like I don't know. I come from a long line of farmers and teachers, and it's very frustrating to see both of those careers right now. And just, I don't know. It's interesting times. I was changing, and it's been interesting the last 4 years having a front row ticket to seeing a lot of the radicalization of the state.
So that leads into my question, because last fall I interviewed Nathan Sage on here. I was a big Nathan Sage supporter. Anybody that drops F-bombs and cusses in political speeches, I'm all on board with. Although I guess I shouldn't be, considering that job that's in the fucking White House. But in any event, well, partially because I think we should take it to them just as much as they've taken it to us personally, if that's the way I feel about it. But 2008, 2012, we voted for Obama. Mm-hmm. We were a purple state. Somewhere along the line, man, we have lost our way. And somebody has to explain to me how it's not squarely on the Democrats in this state's fault. Because everything that you said in the last 5 minutes about healthcare and vouchers and all those things, and every time I read online, somebody says Governor Reynolds is the worst governor in the state of, in the history of Iowa, but yet somehow she's won re-election 3 times or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We elect people like Randy Feenstra. Adam Steen is an absolute Christian nationalist fucking nut job, and this guy's running for governor. Somebody has to explain to me how the Democratic Party isn't in complete shambles, that we can't beat those people. Like that I don't understand it. It's if everybody hates them and it's a terrible thing, how can the Democratic Party be such fuck ups that we can't beat them?
Who hates them?
First,
what's that?
It's because everybody you talk to hates them.
Well, correct. Yeah, right. I'm just saying that's the narrative that I hear. But she's winning re-election every time.
First, that's a great question, and I don't have the best answer, but I'll say this: what I've seen in my experience is that there's an old politician named Tip O'Neill who said all politics is local. That's gone. Everything is nationalized now. You have just, I think of somebody I know who is a county supervisor. His dad was a county supervisor. His grandpa was, and he has a D by his name and got voted out. Even though the family long, history of that county voting for that person. And things like that, it just, it's mind blowing. And so I think of, like you mentioned, 2008, I think of Carroll County a ton, where in Carroll County in 2008 voted for Obama. This last election in 2024 voted for Trump at almost 70%. And you think of it's not like a lot of new people are moving in there or things, it's still just Carroll County, And so the big difference to me is social media, the mis and disinformation, where people are getting their news. It's not the nightly news. It's not, it's people are siloed off. And I think that is where Democrats haven't played or played well enough, where Republicans just have dominate AM radio, dominate conservative churches have just massively grown.
That was another point, is you got that blowtorch of WHO TV that broadcast Rush Limbaugh for X number of years with no checks.
Yep. That, like, it used to be AP News. Talk radio was like AP News and just informational. And now it's 10 hours of propaganda a day. And Iowa is one of those states that lead in the nation on conservative radio. And so you add all that together, and that's, I mean, so you think of it like a campaign and how much we have to raise. Well, that's not even counting how much counter argument you have to all this, whether like the conservative radios, whether it's the mis and disinformation on social media. And so it's not apples and apples. And so to me, like that's how things have been so persuaded in the Republican direction.
Well, I think there's a window, a little window into it. Is like I think about my grandmother. My grandmother has been a Republican my whole life. And you know, her and my grandpa both voted for Trump every election. If when I was growing up, if someone acted like Trump, they would have been so appalled. They would have, if I acted like him around them, they would have just reprimanded me like nobody's business. And somehow it became this own the libs thing.
Yeah.
Like, also that fear thing, because I think the problem in Iowa is you still, when you combine all those rural counties and all those populations, they still outnumber the big cities, right? The
Yeah.
big almost always are going to vote Democrat, almost always, when people actually have to coexist. But when you have these people that live in all these remote locations, they think that when you come to Des Moines, there's like this warehouse full of people, just gay people having sex,
transgender and people like an assembly line.
like it's this freak parade of, it looks like Mardi Gras here all the time or something. And like my grandma, for example, she just found out, she's, I don't know, I think she's 80 something now. But my mom, in her infinite wisdom, decided to reveal to her after all these years that I'm a pothead. So grandma finds out, could have done without. I could have went my whole life without my grandma ever knowing that about me, right? But my mom, she was being judgmental, so my mom was like, "Well, your grandson's a pothead," and yada yada, right? Well, the first thing my grandma said was like, "Well, where does he get it? This, I mean, there's like a lot of gun violence and stuff, and like." She has it in her head that I'm in some back alley with I'm armed and he's armed and we're making a transaction. Crazy. And that's what they all think, and that's what they're voting on.
I know. I mean, it's hard because like there's many times on the campaign trail I'm talking with somebody, and there's a whole weird things. So like I think of campaigning and I love campaigning. I love going out and talking to people because I could ask you a question, and based off of your little response, I knew what direction I can go down. And I may not know like right away where you're at on certain things, but for the most part, I was never fooled. But there was a couple times where like I'm talking to somebody, and then something just triggers them. And all of a sudden, whether it's a word, whether it's something they thought of, and they just totally like, nope, you're part of the pedophiles. And like,
whoa, I didn't order pizza. We were just talking. I do have a question that I have never heard anyone address. I've never heard any politician say this when it comes to healthcare. I think about this a lot. If healthcare were free and it was of high quality, if you know, poor people could get the same quality healthcare as rich people, all that being equal, right? Where do we start controlling the population at? Like
instead of everybody moving here to have like high quality healthcare, is that what you're asking?
No, what I mean is just on a global level.
Yeah.
Longer people live, the more natural resources we start to run out of. The more the more beautiful national parks and things like that are going to end up being with housing in them. Like it's been for how long has it been the case that more people are born than die every year in the world?
Yeah.
It's been that way for a very long time. Like people have to die. So how do we decide? Where does that decision get made?
Yeah. I mean, I see like what you're trying to say, but like we at the same time in the US in the past few years, we are our life expectancy has gone down for the first time.
Yeah. You know what, I did kind of hear that.
Yeah.
For the first time, one generation's not gonna live as long as their parents or something like
Right.
that.
Right. And like or well off in a lot of different ways. And so like I feel and like, to be honest, like I don't have the best answer, but I'll say this is that like let's get universal health care and then let's have those decisions, because right now we're not matching our needs. Because at some point, you're right. Like theoretically, if we have such great healthcare, people are going to live longer. That's going to be more strain on Social Security. It's going to be strain on Medicaid and Medicare and things like that. But I also like we're not doing our end on the front end, and that's a more serious question right away that I feel.
Sure. It's I guess, I mean, it's so hard because we're all hopefully going to be blessed enough to get old someday, right?
Right.
But at the same time, you're like, okay, you know, at what point are you like? I almost would I grew up around a lot of Asian kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I love their culture because they take care of their old people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember these redneck white dudes I would work with back in the day would be like, these Asians moved in next door. There's 6 cars in the street. And the aunt and the grandma lived there. I'm like, oh, they don't just throw their old people away. What a bunch of assholes. Yeah. But like that culture, though, is like, I don't think that our society has that reverence for our old people like that. Like,
No.
we don't look at it like we're paying them back. We look at it like they're in the way.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And like one of the huge issues right now, and that I feel is very much underreported across the nation, is private equity is buying a lot of nursing homes, and the care is just going down in a lot of different places because they, instead of having a full staff, they just maximize profits and just abuse workers. And then they're doing the best they can. And then there's the elderly folks aren't getting the care they need. And like that to me is symbolic of like what's happening in this country. And like,
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say, like, I wear my End Major League Blackout t-shirt and like, I feel like this is symbolic. It's huge owners maximizing profits, and regular people can't just watch a game. You know, like that's, to me, that's symbolic of what's happening in this country.
You said earlier in the pod that all politics now are not necessarily local. It's a national election, and as sad as it is, I think we can contribute that to President Trump. And Bill has talked about this on Billy and Willie's workshop, that as much as he comes off as an idiot and a moron, whatever, he's pretty fucking smart, and he's figured it out, right? On how to speak to the common people and how to I mean, I can't tell you how many times I hear people say, well, I voted for him because he says what's on his mind and what he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
At what point is the other side going to take a playbook here? And I think this might have been, I jokingly said it, but I think this was a little bit of why I like so much about Nathan. Like he just kind of let it go. But like when this guy is insulting and calling reporters this and that, like one time I'd like to hear a reporter go, fuck off. You know what I mean? And the same thing in the debates. I watched some of these debates and I watch these people lie through their fucking teeth. And the other side just sits here and then tries to spin it or whatever, instead of just looking them dead in the eye and go, That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, look them dead on TV in the middle of a debate and just go, "You can't be fucking serious. You're that fucking stupid."
It's because Hillary did that, it made her lose.
What's that?
Because when Hillary did that, it made her lose.
But I don't think that she did that. I don't think she did that. I think she did. I'm saying those exact, like, you. That's, I think, is what I'm saying is I would like to see one person campaign that way, to just go, every time they say something fucking so stupid that everybody in the world knows that they're full of shit, is to just say right on live TV, "You're full of shit."
Yeah.
And I think some people might go, finally, look, somebody is like, let's break out of the cycle here. But I think, again, I'm going back to the point where I think some people are still running the campaigns like it's 2012, and it's not 2012 anymore.
You're exactly right. I will push back on saying I don't think Trump is like has a great scheme or anything. I'll say this: he's funny. Like whether he tries to be or not, he's funny, and he's well known. When you're well known and funny, and like there's people are willing to forgive you.
Bill Maher has come out and said, he goes, "I was very charming, and I met him, and I had a good time."
Yeah, exactly. And like now he's, I don't know, but I'll just say this is that I think what you're talking about is authenticity. And yes. So after the 2018 campaign, when all the presidential Democratic presidential folks came around for the caucus, I got to do events with all of them, and I got to see behind the scenes a little bit. And it drives me nuts how risk adverse so many politicians are. Like I had somebody in my RV, and this person was debating with their manager about whether they should put a sports jacket on or not for this crowd. And I was just like, that's not my, like, I don't like, I mean, they have an image to do and all that, but like when everything is so calculated, like you lose who you are. And like, I think we're all desperate for just a normal person to run. And like, that's why I think there's a lot of hope in 2028 for Democrats is like, let's get a reformer. Let's get somebody who understands that just like how crappy things are and just talk to us normally. Like we don't need these candidates like what they used to be, like you mentioned in 2012, that are so poll tested and are so, they have to say the right things the right way and all this stuff. Like make a mistake. Who cares? We all make mistakes. I think like do more risky stuff. If it doesn't work out, then it may not meant to be. But like at the end of the day, we're tired of the way things are done right now. And I think that's like right now in campaigns all across, especially in Democratic primaries, you see a lot of the anti-establishment person. They're winning primaries right now because I think there is a level of frustration and desire for change.
I mean, I'm just saying, JD, your next campaign slogan should be, "I say the word fuck a lot." That should be your slogan.
I have the perfect video.
Blackouts. That should be your slogan.
My sister was watching on the American Association has a baseball app, so you can watch all the games live for free. And she was watching one of the games I started, and I gave up a home run, and it just pans to me, and I do a huge F-bomb right there. So like, that should be in my next campaign.
And your opponent's gonna go, JD says fuck on the mound. Don't vote for him.
That's when you just go back and go, that's an AI video. That was a deep fake.
That's right.
Not real. That's fake news. That video. I didn't even give up a home run. I actually threw 47 straight scoreless innings.
JD, we're gonna get you out of here. I've just got one question that it's kind of like the Kyle Lehman Wintrust Mortgage question of the pod. All right. I'll ask you this question. We'll play an ad from Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage, and then you'll come back with your answer. You have a magic time machine, and you can go back 15 years and give JD a piece of advice. What piece of advice are you giving JD 15 years ago? Let's get a word quick from Kyle, and then you'll come back with your answer.
Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your home, or if it's simply time to renovate the one you're already living in, you need an experienced mortgage professional to help you analyze your financing options and to make sure the closing goes smoothly. And that's exactly what you get when you call Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage. Kyle's experience and expertise, coupled with Wintrust's rates and programs, ensures you'll get the mortgage that's right for you. You may even qualify for down payment assistance. Before you reach out to a realtor, call Kyle and get pre-qualified, empowering you to start shopping for the home of your dreams. Call Kyle at 515-473-0546. Kyle Lehman, Wintrust Mortgage, 515-473-0546.
All right, and we're back. All right, JD, you have a magic time machine. Go back 15 years to give yourself a piece of advice. What piece of advice are you giving?
There's a William Blake quote that I like that you must create a path on your own or you'll be enslaved by another man, something along those lines. And just telling 15 years ago, JD, just be patient and, work hard. And I guess follow up with a second quote. I'm a big quote person. And Thomas Jefferson had a quote that saying the harder you work, the luckier you get. In my life, that's been absolutely the case.
I actually met JD Vance. What would you say to JD Vance 15 years ago?
I would tell if I saw JD Vance 15 years ago.
A cliff. Oh,
you know what? The thing is, I'm pissed. I'm like all of a sudden JD just got taken over. And
yeah, right.
I'm just like
officials.
Just ruined it for everybody.
Yeah. I just he's such a
say it, JD. Stop being politically correct. Just say it.
No, the clip of him fumbling the Ohio State trophy is the greatest freaking thing. Anytime when JD Vance came to Iowa, I just immediately did that. Like, to me, that is just chef's kiss.
That and the fact that he didn't know who the opponent's name was and flubbed the name and couldn't figure it out. That's the other one.
That is a politician right there. 100%.
Right.
That is what
you got to help me out
hate.
here. I don't know who I'm talking about. Blah, 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 blah. 100%. All right.
So into the couch cushion thing.
Final segment here. This is called the Shut the Fuck Up moment on Old Man Strength. This is inspired by Steph Copley, who was a guest on the show, who told Tim, my partner, to shut the fuck up so she could get her point across. And we thought it was so funny, we decided to make it a segment. But we do, as we always do here at Three Beards Media, we tie it into some charity. So we're going to play a quick note from Steph about an organization called the Young Women's Resource Center and how you can donate and help the Young Women's Resource Center. And then when we come back, JD, Bill and I have to shut the fuck up, and you can say whatever you want about any subject, anything you want. Nothing's off limits, and we cannot interrupt you. So let's get a word about the Young Women's Resource Center, and then I'm going to finally get Bill to shut the fuck up.
Hey everybody, it's Steph Copley, the woman behind the STFU segment on the Old Man Strength podcast. When I told the guys I wanted to sponsor this segment, they recommended that I make a charitable donation instead, so that's what I did. I chose the Young Women's Resource Center in Des Moines, Iowa. They're a nonprofit that supports, educates, and advocates for girls and young women ages 10 to 24. Their whole goal is to make sure that these young women become strong, self-confident, and successful. And if you know me at all, you know that aligns with my goals as well. If you're interested and would like to donate, check them out at ywrc.org and donate today. And remember, don't forget to STFU and listen every once in a while. Thanks.
That's awesome. I will say, Bill, thanks for subbing in here. Chris, thanks for having me on. And I'm going to talk about End Major League Blackouts. So the reason I'm bringing this on, and the reason I wear this, I'm so passionate about this. Iowa's the #1 state impacted by this. We don't have a Major League Baseball team. And yet it used to be 6. I think we're down to 5 now. I haven't looked this year. But it used to be the Twins, the Brewers, Cubs, White Sox, Cardinals, and Royals. And we cannot watch them, even though you paid to see MLB TV. It is one of the most ridiculous things. And when fans just want to watch their team. So proposed a couple bills, but never got a bid on, or never got a subcommittee on it. But every year I had a bill to end Major League blackouts here in Iowa. And I hope somebody takes on that legacy because I'm not running for re-election. So hopefully somebody at the Capitol will do it. So that's my shut the fuck up.
There we go.
I have something to say.
Well, you know why, JD? Because they have much more important things to do, like bring in Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo, to campaign for Zach Zon for whatever.
You know what's crazy? I spent a week with Rob Schneider. Interestingly enough, I went to the movie Moneyball with Rob. Me and Rob, when Moneyball came out in the theaters, we went to that the first weekend. We were in Virginia Beach together. And, you know, every show was a decent show, whatever. But you know, when we're in the green room, it's so surprising to me to see this whole conservative weird thing he's doing, because he was the closest thing to a real life like granola hippie I ever hung around in my life. Like, he was up there just eating raw kale out of a bag, and like he was working with some weird third world country on the cork industry. Like the cork industry somehow financed their fucking country. And he was like big into that, and it's so weird to see him being like a MAGA douche now all of a sudden. It's crazy. I think these guys, a lot of comics, I think, have found that if they go that direction, they can sell some tickets. Because the MAGA douches have become a really supportive group of people. Like in comedy, for example, it's not so much the case now. You got to be a little more of a ticket seller, but like different communities support each other, right? So like people don't come to the comedy club just to see a regular white guy because he's a regular white guy. They don't look at the poster and go, "Holy shit, a regular white guy, let's go." But black people will come to a show because the comic's black. If they may not know who he is, but they'll be like, "Well, it's a black comic, let's go see." They don't really have them that often, right? Or gay people will go for a gay comic. They will show up like crazy. And that is a new group now. And I think there's some, because now they act like they're oppressed. Like the new like Christian nationalist thing to do, the new MAGA thing to do is act like you're being oppressed somehow.
Yeah, I'll just oppress me.
What drives me nuts about all this cancel culture, like all these comedians, they complain about cancel culture on a podcast. Well, they're speaking their mind. They have the free will to go on a podcast and speak their mind. Like, it drives me nuts. It drives me.
Acting the 100%. And I think in some ways that's what we've become. We realized, and it's happening with elections, that we realized that somehow in this country we reward the victim. And so it's, oh my God, Christians are under attack. I can't say Merry Christmas anymore. Bull fucking shit. Nobody ever has said, "Don't say that to me." This never happened to you. You're full of shit. And so, you know, everything's an iteration of that. Feels like.
All I know is this is where we're at in the state of politics right now. Rob Schneider is at a campaign event today. I saw the video where he's talking about protecting kids. And this is a dude whose kid won't talk to him. And he was in a movie called Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. That's how I want to end tonight's show, with how fucking ridiculous this entire thing is right now.
Are you done with politics altogether? Are you done?
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, JD. So you're done. This is your last.
Yep.
What I'm hearing.
I'm still a state legislator until somebody gets sworn in. So like after the election, just regularly. So until January. But yeah, that's it. I don't know what's next.
Well, you know, my buddy who owns Revelton Distilling Company was an Iowa legislature for years, and he quotes and says, "I'm a living example of politics driving somebody to drink," because he opened up a distillery. So there you go.
I love it.
Right on. It was good to meet you, JD. For sure.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Thank you so much, JD. Appreciate it. We'll put this out tomorrow, and I'll probably tag you in some stuff. So I'd appreciate if you help promote it or whatever else. We'll have some clips, but appreciate you, JD, for coming on. Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody for listening to the Old Man Strength podcast on the SB Beards Media Network. Check out Billy tomorrow night on Billy and Willie's Workshop at 8:00, and we are out of here.
Old man strength, built to last. Try to break me, you won't get past. Ain't no quit, ain't no doubt. You don't know tough till you've been worn out. We'll make it, you'll understand.